Can you all hear me?
Yes,
Okay, good. So let me go to. I prepared a small slide for today's class so that we can understand some terminology. So this is the slide. So we are on week 2. Okay, so let's go to the first thing. Now I brought this thing so we're gonna understand better how everything works. So you can see what's on my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So on my screen you have blocks on the left side and you have viewer. You know where this is for the blocks. Now for the blocks, we have the inbuilt blocks and we have the component blocks, the ones that came with what you added. Okay? Yeah. Now let's start with the first one. The first one, which is the when, which is the brown color, is called event handler, the brown color. So it has when and what do block. Can you see that? Yeah. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, oh, she's following. Is anybody coming? Okay. Now, what it means is that these are called event handlers. You know what an event is? Do you know what an event is? So, an event basically, like you say, an event is something to happen. Now, this thing handles happening things. That's why you have when. So, when text to speech, before you speak, then it has the do. So it handles every event inside the do parameter. Okay? Now the second one, which is the purple color, is called method calls. Method. Okay, you know what a method means in English? The way things are done. But it calls things. That's the blue one. Okay? We're going to talk about them in details briefly. Then the green ones, light green ones, are called what? What are they called?
Property getters.
Yes. It's good. Property getters. So the light green are property getters. So they get something for us, properties of what we want to do. And then the last one is what? Property what? Setter. So you can see it always starts with sets. Yes. Sets. And this one is get. Okay. So those are the things we're going to be talking about today. These 4 things. We're going to understand them very well and know how to use them and when to use them. So let's go to the next slide. Now, the next slide is the first one is event handler. Okay, so for the event handler, hello, Auntie, can you help me reduce that for you? Yeah. So for the event handler, it says an event handler will execute the code in the do part. Are you seeing that? Okay, or on the socket. So this is our socket. Okay, so the event handler executes any code that is inside this socket. Okay, so that's of its block. So when a certain event occurs in the component, so for instance, if you had a button on your screen, so that button is available. So we have a button called speak button in this case. So the event handler will always do what is inside the socket. Okay, so that's why we call this an event handler. There are different event handlers. So it says the event is specific to when part of the handler. Okay, so what it means is that what event is it going to handle? The event is going to handle is a button, and what the button will do is to click. Okay, so but what it's going to handle is whatever is inside here. Whatever component we put inside here is what is going to be handled. Do we follow?
Yes.
Okay, good. So that's how event. So we call this. I'm giving you this terminology so that you get used to them. So it's called an event handler. Whenever you see when and do together, they handle events. Okay. Good. Now let's go to the next one. So now we have here in this note, it says here what it says here. It said all codes on the event handler are completely executed before another event handler can be executed. Do you understand what it means? Now, if you have two event handlers, okay, that's two of these on your screen. Let me show you what I mean. Let me go to my app inventor. So on my app inventor, and let me go to my blocks. So on my block, I have one event handler already here. And then let me throw this out. I'm going to put another event handler, okay, for this one. So I'll click on it. This is another event handler. Let me choose this one down here. Oh, reload. Sorry, my screen expired. So I'm waiting for it to come. So let me go back to the slide. Okay, just hold on. I think it logged me out. Let me log back in on my app inventor. So let me continue what I was explaining here. So I said when you have two event handlers, the first one must happen first before the other one. Okay, that's what this means. It says know that when an event handler, it has to complete the event, whatever you want it to do, it must do it first before it goes to another. So let me say, for instance, you click the button twice, okay, maybe mistakenly. The first event has to happen before it does it again. It's one after the other. Okay, do we understand? Okay, now the next one, are we still there? Okay, good. I wanted to be sure you're there. Okay, so the next one is event handler parameter. Okay, I'm taking time to explain this so you understand it better. Now, this is an event handler, but this one has a parameter. Remember, I talked about parameter before. Parameters are things that inside, as in like values you can add to something. So it says an event handler can have 0 parameter or can have a value. Some of them don't have parameters, some have parameters. Okay, like for this one, the parameter here is choice. Okay, are you following? Okay, good. Now let me go to the next thing. Let me just go through this before. Okay, now the next one is called what? What is this? Good. So on the method call, we have the purple one, okay, which is almost under procedure. So we said a method call calls or executes a certain method of the component. Okay. Now remember we said the first one is what? The first one we talked about is event what? Handlers. Good. So and we said the event handler will only happen when there's something to do. If there's nothing to do, it will not happen. Okay? Let me find out. I think somebody wants to join the meeting. Okay, nobody is joining. Okay, good. So let's continue. So once we are done with this, we will understand it better and then we can continue. So like I said, sorry, so here, so it says a method, okay, does a certain function of a component. So for this one, the method name in this part is called call. That's the method. Like when you're cooking. Let me give you an example. People that know how to cook. The method of cooking is that you must put the food on the fire. Okay? That's every method of cooking. So for this particular method, the only method here is to call. Okay? So that's the particular method. Somebody is coming. Okay? Now, the method call for this one is what? Text to what? Speech. Okay? And then what it does is to speak out the text. Good. And the text is attached under this message box. Okay? So I'm talking about the message box is what? The parameter of this method. Good. So it said the method can be 0 or have more parameters. For this one, the method is not 0. The method has a parameter. We must put something here. If not, we'll have an error. Okay, good. Yes, like a puzzle. So now, the last thing here says, sorry. So we say a call of a method may do its function differently or different values. So we can have different kind of methods. Okay, method call. So let's explore the kind of method calls we have. Let's go back to our app inventor and let me see the kind of method calls we have. So going back to the block, we are focusing on the block side now. So on our block, we have, let's go to methods that we have here under text to speech. Okay, we have only one method here. Let's see, is there no method for, if you notice, the block has no method. Okay, the button has no method at all. Okay, now if I go to procedure, okay, this is an example of a method, general method. So I need to put, let me go back to my design so I can put a method so that I'll see what it looks like. So let me go back to design and add, what should I add? Let me add maybe web viewer. Okay, it's not an invisible component. Let me delete it. Okay, let me go to media and let me add something else here. Okay, so player is an invisible component. So I'll go back to blocks and then let's click on it. So now can you see the methods we have here? So for here we have call player dot pulse. You can see this method does not have what? Does it have a parameter or does it not have a parameter? This one. Class. Does this call player, does it have a parameter? Eh? Does it? No, it doesn't have a parameter. Compare it with this one. Yes. So this one has a parameter, and the parameter is what? Message. While this one doesn't have what? A parameter. Yes. So, but they are all the same. Yes, they are all the same call method. Okay. So let's look for another one. Now we have another one here. So this call player dot vibrate, does it have a parameter or not? Okay. Good, beautiful. So we understand. Faithful, do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, good. Do you understand, Kenechukwu? I'm talking about parameters. I said this call method has a parameter called message. This one doesn't have a parameter.
Is it this thing?
Yes, that's the parameter message. It also has a parameter here, milliseconds. Okay, so let me go back to my slide. Output are just coming now. So on the slide, we're talking about this. We said this is called, the purple one is called a method call. Okay, and the call is what? The method, while this message is a parameter. So do you understand this part? Okay, good. Now let's go to the last thing. So the last one says property getters and setters. Good. So it's important that we understand this. Now the first one says, all right, a property getter gets the value of a certain property of the component. Okay? Yeah. So now let's find out what that is. Now, the light blue green one is a property what? Getter. Okay? So what it gets, now this property is, the property in quotes is label 1. We all know what label 1 is. So let me go back to my app inventor and let's find out what label 1 is. Let's try it out. So on our app inventor, let's pick up, we have a label here. So we have label.text. And we said this one is what? What is that one? Property, what? No, it's coming. Getter. Good. So and we said, no, getter. While this one is what? Setter. Good. So, and we said that property getter, this is the property label. Okay. Now it gets, what does it get? The text. It can get other things. Okay. It can get the background color of that label. It can get for you the front size of that label. Do you understand? It can get for you HTML content, all these things. But for here, we want it to get the text. Okay. Now, let me go back to the slide. Are we following? Good. So we said property getter. So they said the property name is specified after the component name, and the dot is the code block. So we said the property name is what? Label 1. Then after the dot, we now have the component name exactly. So that's for property getter. Now, another thing for property getter is a property getter sets the value of a certain property of the component. The property name is specified after the component name, and the dots, okay, I'm just repeating the same thing, and the dots in the block code. So we understand that this is the property, code block. So this is the property, and this is what is getting. Okay, good. So that's for property getter. Now the last one is property what? Setter. Good. What happened to my slide? Okay, that was my last slide. Okay, so let's also talk about properties, getter and setter. Good. So I think it's just same thing. So let's go back to our this thing. So we have, this is property what? Getter, and this is property, setter, and this is property what? Getter. So let's now apply what we have learned. So for people that are coming just now, let me go back to the beginning and just see what we did. Okay, so that we'll do a rundown. So we said these are all the things we did today. We said the first thing we have here is what? An event handler, the brown one. Hello, look at the screen. So this is an event handler. Remember, today we're not going to do a quiz, but we're going to do a quiz on all these things on Saturday. The first thing we do. So it's important that we yes, every Saturday morning we do a quiz before we do our class. That was after the class. So we said, for us to understand, the first one is event handler, the brown one. It says it always has when and do. The second one is a call, method call, which is known by the purple color. Okay, and we said this other one is property what? Getter, known by its light color. And the other last one is what? Property what? Property what? The last one is property setter. It's known by its dark color. So those are the 4 things we handled today. So we're going to apply them. You have a question? Okay, so we're going to apply these 4 things to our project now. Okay, event handler, we have done that before. Calls, we have done that before. Property getter, we've done, and then property setter. So let's try it out on our class. Okay, so let me go back to, I'm done with the slide. Now let's go back to App Inventor and try it out. Now we have added this. I think some of us have done our project. I'm going to see our projects today. So we have this. This is what is the name of this one? Don't worry, I'll show you how to do that after the class, before Saturday. So what is this brown one? If we remember, what is it called? No, event handler. You heard that. So the event that it handles is the button. Okay, and what does it do? It clicks. Okay, so we said we want a button to be clicked and let something happen. So let's do part of things that we did in the last class. So what I want to do in this class, I want us to use the button to move from one screen to the other. Okay, now let me go back to my design. Okay, now my design, I'm going to have 2 screens. I have screen 1 and I have page 2, and let me add another screen too. Just follow the class first. Then I want to call this page 3. Good. And okay, so we have how many pages? Screen 1, 2, 3. Okay, now what I want to do, I want to use the buttons to navigate from screen 1 to page 2 and page 3. Are we following? Just follow the class before you try it out. Okay, so now let me go back to screen 1. So on screen 1, I have 2 buttons. One is button to text, button 1, and one is button 2. Okay, now I want to name this button 1 I want to give it a name. I want to call it speak. Okay, and then I want to call this the second button, I want to call it next page. Are you following? Good. So now I want to also change the name here so that I don't get confused. So here I'm going to call this button 2 next P. I'll call it next P. So I'll know it's for next page. And then I'll call this one speak. Okay, good. Okay, I hope you can take the name. Good, you took the name. So we are done. Now we have text to speech and we have a player here. Now for the player, I don't think we have any sound source. If you had a sound, we have selected the music, but let's leave that for now. Okay, now let's go to our block. Okay, no, now let's program 2, page 2. So on page 2, we're going to have a back button that will take us to page 1. And then we'll also add a button again. Okay, we'll also add a button here that will be like, okay, this button should be to, what do you think? This button should be to the page 3. So let's call this button page 3. Good. So, and then this one will be back. Are you following? Good. Now let's go to our block. Now, on our block, let's navigate to screen 1 first. So on screen 1, we're going to use, I didn't hear you.
Are you going to test whether they will get promoted to another?
Yes, I'm going to test it. Yes, I'll do that. My this thing is here. So I'm going to test it on my, don't worry, when we're done. Okay. So can you see my, did you see my app inventor? Okay, my code.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we're going to test it with the phone. So now what we're going to be doing is we want to use when speak. Now, if you notice, once you click on this arrow here, you can see the 2 buttons we have, this and this, but we're using this first one. Good. Now we want it to move to what? Okay, we want it to say something, and then the other button should go to the next page. So we're going to add 2 buttons. Are you following? So I'm going to add this other one. So we're going to have 2 when. Okay, 2 event handlers here. So one will be to move to the next page. One will be to speak. Okay, let me remove all these things so that we don't get confused. Okay. So I want us to see everything as I'm removing everything so that we don't get confused. Okay, so is everybody with me? We're distracting the class. When we are done, you can have all this conversation. So now so are we following? Now we have 2 event handlers here. So we said one will speak and one will move to the next page. So for the one that will speak, very easy. We know how to do that one. We'll go to text to speech, and then we'll use a method. There's only a method that can fit in here. A method call. Good. So and we said this method call has a parameter. It's supposed to speak out a message. Okay? A message, yes. So for us to have a message here, the message has to be a word. Okay? So we said to get the message, we can use a text. Okay? And then on that text, we have, this is an empty text. Okay? So we can put this empty text here. Okay? So we can write what we want it to say. So what do we want it to say? We want it to say, hello, world. Good. That's what we wanted to say. Okay. Now the second event handler, are you following? We want it to move towards the next page. So to move to the next page, how do we do that? You do it in the house, my friend.
Not quite.
Okay. So watch. So for the next one, we're going to go to control. Now under control, we'll scroll down. This is to move to the next page. Down, down, good. And then we'll see open another screen. So we're going to drag it here. Good. Eh? I have a warning. Yes, definitely. I'm supposed to have a warning. The reason why I have a warning is this. There is nothing here. There's nothing in the parameter. So we need to put the parameter of where the page will go to. So to do that, we have to give the page. So we said open another screen. Screen name. That's what it's asking for here. Screen name. So what's the screen name? So we go, the screen name we want to move to is what? Page what? 2. So how do we do that? We go to text. So we can just come here and duplicate this. Okay? And then drag it and join it here. Okay? Now we'll now give it the page name. So the page name is what? Page 2. Make sure if your page is capital letter, make sure you follow the convention. If it's cap, once you miss it, you miss it. So my own is page 2 together, no space. Good. Now this that. So what we want to do too, I want to add something else. Now I want, after it says hello world, let the text, okay, let this button, that is the name of this button is speak. Remember, good. Now I want the button name to change when it's done. So let's see what it looks like now. Okay, something like that. So let me see what the button looks like now. Let me refresh my app inventor. So let me reconnect. Let me refresh. Okay, let me refresh this guy. Is it refreshing? No. Okay, hold on. So let me go back. Emulator. Let me allow it to refresh. So I want the emulator to be ready for us. So my emulator is refreshing. Okay, let's just wait for it for a while. Okay, so don't worry, I'm recording the class. Once I'm done with recording class, I'm going to share it with all of us so I can actually watch it later. So
Uncle, then I have a problem. This I want to test something.
yes.
Whether my
Not to you. You say what?
sorry that I don't have the emulator on my computer.
Okay, we'll figure that out. Maybe there's a small challenge. Okay, so this can you see my emulator? Can you all see it?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So on my emulator, you can see the button name is speak, and the other button name is next what? Page. Good. So now let's go back. Yeah, so what I want to do, I want to use the getter. Okay, that's where it comes in. So we're going to use the getter for the button. So for this button, we're going to say, where's our getter for text? So speak. Okay. So now what we want to do, that after it's finished speaking, the button should change to something else. So we're going to do that with getter and setter. So we'll go back to speak, and we're going to use the first, where is it? Okay, this. Good. Okay. Now you can see it's still giving us an error because the parameter is not there. Okay. Now the parameter, what we want to do is that we want this button speak. Let the text change. Okay. Now we're not gonna use this. Let's throw this one away for now. Then we're gonna use this again and add it here. Now I want it to change it to spoken. Abby, I hope my English is correct. Are we together? Are we all following? Okay. Okay, good. Now let's. Okay, good. Now let's see what's on page 2. On page 2 we have, yes. So on page 2, let me get this away. So once we are on page 2, we can move back to page 1. So that's what we want to do on page 2. So on page 2, we're going to bring out the yes. We have 2 buttons here. P button is what? Previous. Abi? That's what we called it. Can we remember what this was? Let's go back to our design. So on page 2, we have okay, back. Yes, back button. And name of the button is P button. Yes. Okay, let me change it to P. No, this one is previous. What's this one? Okay, this one is the page 3. Then this one is back. Let's call this one back button so that we don't get confused. So let's rename it to back button. Okay, good. Okay. So now let's go back to our block. Okay. Now back button. So click on back button. So we'll now say when back button is clicked, what should happen? It should go back towards the first page. And then we also have when this button is clicked, it should go to page 3. That's our deal. So let's now see how to go to page 3. So to page 1, we'll go here and select close. Okay, so this will say close screen with what? The value or the result. So the same thing we did, we're going to go back to text. Okay, and then which screen do you want to close? We want to close page what? 2. Good. And then this button should take us to what? Page 3. So we'll go back here. Yes, and look for this one, and then we duplicate this. Are we all following? Physical class. And then we change this to page 3. Good. So let's test it out and see what happens. Okay? Are we together? So let's see. What? I didn't hear you. Come again.
You have to refresh your emulator.
Yes, emulator. Yes, I read some things. Okay, no problem. Precious, are you here? Faithful, sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so you can see everything I'm doing.
Yes.
Okay, good. So now let's test it. So let's go back to our emulator and let me just run it again. Or refresh. Let me refresh first so that we can reconnect. Let me see what's happening. Okay, I think it's ready. So let's try it out. So we said once we click on this button, it should speak. So let's see what is going to happen. Did you hear that? So you can see it changed to spoken after I finished speaking. Then let's click on this and see whether it's going to go to the next page. So we have this one is screen 1. So let's see that we're going to page 2. So we'll click on this. So you can see it's on page 2 now. Okay. Then let's click on this to go back.
I did not hear anything.
Well, let me do it again. Listen. So I'm going to click it again. Okay, I think. Did you hear it?
Hello world.
Yes, hello. You heard it. Hello world. Let me increase the volume a little. So let me go to next. Who is that? Is it my phone? Okay, so let me go back. So let's hear it again. When I click on it, what's happening?
She's using my aunt's photo as her.
It's because so many things are running on my system, and then now I'm recording. That's why it's like that. So you can see change to spoken. Okay, good. So this is our code. Remember our code. So this is our code. The first code is we use set to change the name of the text to spoken. You can also use set again to even make it bold. Okay, you can even use it to change the color of the front. Okay, We can even make it invisible or whatever I want to make it. Okay, so that's where set comes in. So are we good? What's wrong with you? It's not opening.
It's opening, but
So do you have any question on this? So we can see there's no errors, there's no warning. So if you are having errors, the reason is that possibly once you remove this here, you have a warning because the parameter is not filled. Okay, no, I want us to be using the language parameter. So once you remove this, you have a warning.
English is
Yes, this is code in English. You have a warning because the event handler is empty. Okay, then this is an error. Let's see, when you have an error is when do we have an error? When there's a bug. Let's see what will give us an error here. Okay.
That's an error when you remove popcorn.
Okay, let's remove.
If you remove the popcorn,
Okay, the spoken one. Okay, let's see.
if you remove the
Okay, yes. So when we remove this parameter, we have an error here. So this is an error and also a warning. Okay. So even here has a warning too. So when we go back here, good. So do we follow? Good. Now let me do something different. Now, okay. Now I want to bring out a okay, I want to bring out this. Okay, and then I want to replace it with this. Okay, there's no error. This is not what I wanted to do. Okay, let me put this back. I want to create a situation where, okay, let me go to maths. Okay, and then I'll get out this value. Okay, where can it not? Okay, let's see whether it can go here. Okay, it can go here. Okay, I think I'll find that scenario where that happens. Okay, now let's add something more to this. Okay, now what do we want to add to this? Now we let's go back to our design. Okay, now on our design we have, on media we have player, we have video player. I don't have a video here. Okay, let me go down to, where did I see that? Layout. Is it layout? No, under user interface. Good. Now under user interface I want to do something different. Now I'm going to use under interface called this web viewer. Who knows what web viewer does?
I don't
Okay, now web viewer parameter, what it does is that it can help you open a particular website. Okay, now we're going to put the name of the website here. So for this one we're going to open www.soparkids and see whether it's going to work. .org. Good. Okay, yes, it should work on the emulator. Yes, it will work. So let's see. So let's refresh. Okay, and then try it out. Emulator. I think the emulator has internet, so it should work. Emulator is blank. Okay, I know why it's blank. Who knows why it's blank?
click on emulate. Because I'm still refreshing.
Is it still refreshing? I don't think so. I think there's a problem because I didn't put a parameter for my web viewer. So I need to put them properly because the web viewer is on automatic. So let me set how many pixels I want it to be. Let me make it, yes, let me make it 200 pixel by, I hope 200 is not too much. 200. Okay, 200. Okay, let's see on my screen. Let me make everything center and center. Good. So let's refresh again.
Uncle, what is the pixel?
Okay, the pixel. Okay, let me go back here. So I think we talked about that before. Now, a pixel. Who remembers what a pixel here? Physical class. Anybody?
A pixel like
The technologies.
Yes.
Everybody, even this individual class.
yes, sir.
Did they give
We
you
stand
some?
for picture elements.
Auntie said she sent you terminologies that had pixel
Yes.
to study. Did you study it? They are saying, Auntie, come and answer. Some people are saying, they didn't see anything. Okay.
There's among the information that was sent to you, there's one of them that is coding terminologies. Did you see that?
No.
Okay,
Yes,
don't worry.
yes.
Tell daddy if daddy checks his mails.
No, I'll
among the
send
mails.
it to them
Okay.
right now.
Okay, uncle will send it again. So you should be studying it because sometimes uncle will ask questions. Sorry?
I'll send it on Google Classroom. Don't
Okay.
worry. Okay, so let me explain pixel. Now, have you? Okay, somebody wants to tell us what pixel.
She and Cindy, one of them should be there.
Okay, Cindy, what's the pixel?
A pixel stands for picture element. You are correct.
Yes.
Picture element. So what is it?
It is the smallest unit of. It's like a small unit of a picture.
Okay, they are correct.
That's the magic unit.
So you have what is that? Okay. Okay. So you have a pixel basically is a tiny dot on a picture. Now, have you noticed that when you get let me show you what I mean. Are we all watching?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get a picture on the internet or rather on my phone. I should have a picture here.
What are you looking for?
Just hold on. Let me get a picture on my laptop. Where is pictures? Okay. Which one is a picture? So remember now. You guys are students, so you should remember. So a pixel, they remember now. So
You remember the answer?
they remember now. So a pixel basically. So why I did this was, if I didn't add pixel, the first option it had was automatic. It would take the whole space of our screen. So we wanted to reduce this height. Let me even reduce this height further to 150. Although it might be very small. Okay, 150. So and then let me see. Do I need to put this? I need to put https // let me get the proper name. Copy the site name. So let me go back there and let me put this. Okay, so this is the proper URL. Okay, so it says prompt for permission, not necessary, visible, yes. Ignore SSL errors. Good. Let's ignore every error. And then let's try it out again. So let's refresh.
There was nothing there, then.
It's coming. So you can see loading.
Yes, that's Soparkids.
So tiny. Can you see loading?
Yeah, but it's too tiny. Yeah.
Okay. Let me increase the. You're not seeing anything. Let me increase the pixel. Let me make it 220 by 220 30 by what? Let's make it 300. I hope 300 is not so much. Okay, 300 is okay. So let's refresh. So it's coming. So can you see it now?
Yeah.
So you can see, you can scroll, you can see the website. Can you all see?
Yeah.
So our thing is still here. You can still speak.
to be on internet.
Yes. Yes, you have to be on internet before the website can show. That's just the difference. But if you're not on internet, it won't show. So that's just web view. That's just something else. So let me give you a secret. This is the way some apps are made. So people that already have websites can just use this to make an app in 2 seconds, and the app will be available for other people to watch. Okay? So this is what it looks like. Okay, so that's one of the components that we did today. So we did something new by adding web viewer. Now, web viewer is a visible component, not an invisible component. Okay? Good. So at least the most important thing for us today that we learned how to understand and use our blocks so that we don't have make mistakes. So we said an event handler must have a method for it to be complete. Okay, and this one is optional. Get and set. We can do without this. Okay, but it must all exist inside an event handler. That's what we try to achieve today. So make sure you understand this because my quiz will be also on this. So the quiz question will be longer.
Wow.
I'll check all the ones we failed for that first quiz. I'm going to set those ones back and add these new ones. Okay? Anybody has any question? So it's time to answer questions.